I just want to get your thoughts on the future of rugby. I know you're thinking about Tokyo 2019 as maybe the time when you sign off, although who knows, that could creep on. But what does rugby look like in 10 years or even in 30 years' time, besides the robot referees?
There'll be no robot referees, I hope.
What about the sport itself?
The sport is facing challenges, As I said, society is facing challenges. There's a huge blame culture in society now where we used to have a carnival in the village where people would dress up and be on back of a float, dress up on a lorry, and the carnival would go through the village, or the local farmer would bring his tractor and trailer, dress it all up, and people would dress up as a theme, and we'd have a carnival in a village. And we don't have that now. We're going to have a carnival for the first time in Pontyberem this year for, I think, about 16 or 18 years. But it's a walking carnival because there's health and safety insurance in case somebody falls off a trailer and then somebody gets blamed from it. And that's the culture we live in. So rugby is facing that challenge as well, where there's a blame culture in society today. So health and safety is quite rightly so. There is a place for health and safety, and we need to make the environment that people live in and the environment that people play sport in, whatever it is, as safe as we possibly can. That is hugely important. Let's never forget that. And that's one of the most important things for a referee to bear in mind. When you're refereeing that game, you have got to look after the safety of those players, and that's why the laws are there. You apply those laws. You referee that game because those laws are intertwined, not only to get a game of rugby, but to have as well, not just respect, but also to have the game as safe as we possibly can in a situation that is very physical and a lot of contact. So rugby has, unfortunately, as a lot of other sports, in a contact sport, there is an element, and rugby has that element of danger. And that's why you've seen in American football the huge stuff that's going on with concussion. Yeah. Rugby is the same. There's a huge drive now on trying to make the game as safe as we possibly can to try and... I don't think we'll ever eliminate the risk of injury in a contact sport. We'll never ever totally eliminate the risk of a head injury or concussion. But we need to do all we possibly can to make rugby a sport that is safe for all. And that, in all fairness, is what everybody who is involved in the game and everybody who loves the game, from the governing bodies to World Rugby and everybody else involved in the game, from the administrators, the people who run the game, the medic staff, the physios, officials, players, we are all doing all we can to make rugby as safe as we can, but there will be that element of risk. We cannot, I think, if you want to go down the route of having a non-contact sport where there is going to be no risk of injury, then rugby won't be a sport anymore. It won't be here in 10 years' time, in 30 years' time. And I don't think anybody wants that, but we all want it to be as safe as we possibly can. So I hope, and I think that in 10 years, 30 years' time, rugby won't be any different to it is now. I don't think you can change what the sport of rugby is without changing it to beyond total recognition of what it is. It's going to be a hard physical contact sport, played with respect, played with good sportsmanship, where the player's safety is looked after as much as we possibly can. And that's all I think we can do, is to try and do that, to raise the awareness, to eliminate those elements of risk as much as we possibly can. When I was a kid growing up, I used to go out climbing the trees, swinging on the swings on the trees, building tree houses and stuff, and there was an element of risk in that, of falling and getting an injury. Probably more of a risk of getting injured doing that there is in playing rugby. I wouldn't want to be a kid growing up today where my parents tell me you can't climb trees anymore. You can't go out and risk anything that you're going to fall over and hurt yourself. We have to accept that rugby is a contact sport, but we also need to do as much as we possibly can. And I think we are doing that. I think World Rugby is doing all it can in its powers to make the game safe and raise the awareness. And I hope, and I really do think that rugby in 10 years' time will be in a good place. I hope. Because if rugby is not the sport it is now in 10 years' time, then the world is going to be a poorer place for it.
Continue watching this fascinating conversation for free by clicking on the link below to visit our website, learn from the best minds in the world, and connect with a community of passionate people building the best versions of themselves. Just click on the link below, and I'll see you on the inside.